2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. Amidst the purple mania and the weather change around here and the magic of Lamar Jackson, I'm going to take a little break here to promote, first off, my favorite theater in town is the Modell Lyric. Everyone knows that from going to the Nutcracker when I was a kid and going down there. Lewis Black on Tuesday night is bringing a first-place brand of comedy here to Baltimore, as well as I don't know if he's going to brag on the Nationals or beat up the Orioles, but I do know anytime I text Lewis Black, he's my favorite breathing comedian in the world, and he actually calls me back and comes on. Lewis Black, you make me want to work blue, even though I have an FCC license and don't, but every time I see you, man, I just want to F-bomb, especially with where we are, but these are happy times, bro. You're coming to Baltimore. We're in first place. It's like we don't even have a baseball team.
No, you have a baseball team, and I don't. And they don't really feel good about next year already. I'm already prepared for feeling bad. I'm already prepared for reading in February when I get the thing that you have the thing that tells you how your team will fare in its division, and that we're on like you got to go to the next page because there's so much. They write so much about Boston and New York and Tampa Bay and other teams, and then they go, well, once again. It's just appalling. I mean, it makes no sense either. I don't know what the plan is. If I knew what the plan was, it would be nice. I don't see the plan.
Well, they got a plan in your hometown. I mean, did you adopt the Nationals? Or because you're Redskins,
No.
right? I mean, you're a pissed-off Redskin fan, but aren't they all? But, I mean, in the corridor, like the Silver Spring thing, like everybody there was Cal Ripken and Brooks Robinson and Jim Palmer kind of, sort of, right?
Well, I mean, I was initially a Washington fan because it was, we would go down to early on to go down to watch them play downtown and stuff. But then you take two teams away, and I would watch ball, and I paid attention to Baltimore too because they were also there and they were great. But you go, but then they took both teams away. Once they took both teams away, that was that. We were done, goodbye, and you're not going to bring a third team in for me to root for and pretend that you haven't already screwed me twice.
Well, you're missing out on all the fun now. They had a parade down there 2 weeks ago.
I rooted for them in the series, but don't expect me to root for them all year. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
You're not a bandwagon guy.
You don't bring them in. You don't change their name. It's nonsense. I know people who've stuck with my friend. I'm friends with Maury Povich, and he and I had a discussion about it. Now he's stuck with him, but he has a big tie because of his father and going to games with his dad. When the Washington Senators were there, so I get that. But that's a lot deeper. I mean, I just won't be. I'm not. Once you show the ugly head of business to a child, it's the ball game's over.
Well, I was 15 years old when the Mayflower vans went out on a snowy night westward with my horseshoes. Lewis Black is here. He's coming back to Baltimore. He's probably more fond of the Colts than the Ravens. Proceeds from ticket sales to this event down at the Modell Lyric, 60-40, supporting two of my pal Bill Yerman's favorite charities, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and Pathfinders for Autism. Lewis, I mean, all kidding aside, we'll tell some more comedy. I want to talk some football. I want to get your thoughts on Lamar as well as Daniel Snyder. But I know that you do charity events, you do a lot of comedy, you work blue, which is why I love you, brother. I mean, who's not working blue in this day and age on the internet? But the Cystic Fibrosis and Pathfinders, two charities coming together. I know you've done these things for one charity. I know you know a lot about both of these, so I want to open the floor a little bit because when you're coming out on a cold Tuesday night to Baltimore, people are coming down, they're forking over, and you're going to make them laugh. There's some cause behind all this, and I'm a cause guy, and I think your cup runneth over. We all do, right? We have abundance in this country, abundance with what we do, to give something back's really cool to you on a Tuesday night, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I've been involved with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for 25 years, and I've always thought from the very beginning they were an extraordinary group of people. One of the things that initially attracted them, that I was attracted to them because initially 96, and it's still very, very high, 96 cents of every dollar went toward research, Their development in terms of what they do medically, the way in which they approach the development of drugs, a kind of entrepreneurial medicine that they've come up with, which is kind of remarkable. It has all gone to increasing the lifespan of those and hopefully and the quality of those who do have the disease, and hopefully and it's really it's the tipping point is we're starting to hit the tipping point, but now really the drive is to really to find a cure. It would be extraordinary, to find a cure for a disease other than just polio in my lifetime. And I think and the effect of the work that CF has done in the way that they deal with science has had an effect on others, on other groups such as I believe that Michael J. Fox's group, his group which deals with Parkinson's, they have kind of followed some of the model that CF has established. They've been trailblazers in a lot of ways, and especially when it comes to what we call orphan diseases, which is diseases that affect just a few. But what's truly extraordinary is that their work really went way beyond just affecting just those who have the disease. I think it will affect and profoundly affect others. So it's been really, I've been lucky enough to be involved with them.
Man, you make me laugh so much. You even make me laugh when I send you text. It's we get down and dirty and heavy with Lewis Black. He's doing some comedy, 60/40, to support the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation we talked about, as well as Pathfinders for Autism, a local organization I've talked about a lot. Man, autism's something, right? Like I would say the Rain Man movie sort of opened that up, and there was a comedic element of that. Most people in the world, certainly most people in America, didn't know a whole lot about autism, and I guess over the last 30 years, this is something everyone knows someone who has a child with autism, and it's something we're scratching our heads about and trying to find answers. And I know
we're the only country on earth where something like this could occur. Where when I was a kid, it was really like one out of thousands. Or maybe there were others, but it was really the percentage was just there were not a lot of children. There was certainly not a lot of children. There was no children. There was no child in my neighborhood unless they were hiding something from us that really seemed to be on the spectrum. And then all of a sudden it kind of turned, and it just kind of like hit like wildfire, and it's. Since it's not a disease in that sense, they really did. People were left to their own devices to deal with this. It's absurd. Only in this country would that be the case, where it was, oh boy, look, oh now we got a problem. When I discovered it was because Robert Smigel, he's the one who has Triumph the Insult Dog as his character.
Sure.
And he's also a really fine writer and producer. Robert had there was a Comedy Central with Jon Stewart, and Robert put together a huge benefit for helping folks, families with autism. This was literally like 25 years ago. And I was on that first one, and that was an eye-opener for me, and then I began to become involved with it. And my friend Kathleen Madigan's, she and I have done did two major benefits out in Missouri for a place called the Thompson Center, which in a sense is similar to Pathfinders in that they're a support system for families. And so I've done work there, and this really, when I was approached by my friend Gus Colaris to do this benefit, would I want to do it? I left it to chance. And folks should know that, outside of covering expenses for the couple of folks who were helping me out on this, that I'm not taking any. I'm not getting any money for this. So all the money,
wow.
my fee goes back to the charity. Because why else do it? It's kind of silly. You don't need to pay me to do this. It's an opportunity for me to give back, and especially be able to do it in the state that I'm from.
Well, you're picking a hell of a week to show up in Baltimore. I know you do watch football. I've seen your rants and your tirades in regard to the Washington Redskins, Lewis Black. Anything you want to say about Lamar Jackson? I mean, you're a day out on this. I'm sure you've seen the highlight a dozen times. You sort of can't avoid the human pinball sort of joystick that he has become, and you're flying into a rowdy crowd. Put a number 8 jersey on. They're going to love you up here, Lewis.
I know. I gather. It's just tough. When your team is the Washington team, and then you watch this team with a quarterback, and then you watch the profound number of mistakes that my team has made as regards quarterbacks, drafts, everything. I mean, or just, like what are you going to do to the kid who's the running back? I can't pronounce Guides. I think what's the last name of the running back who the one in the Washington with the Washington running back who got injured, then got injured again. I mean, that's the luck of the draw. That's not that kid's fault. That's and then but Adrian Peterson, and you keep him out the first game, and he's the best runner you got. What, he was schmuck? What planet are you on? It's unbelievable to me. And now I just go, now everything that when I send out stuff, which I probably be sending out every weekend, is #Fire Snyder. I'm done.
Yeah, we got Angelos here, right? I mean, it's incredibly difficult to overcome bad ownership. And I guess in the beginning it's cute because cartoonists can make fun of it, comedians can make fun of it. But when you're 25 years into it, and it's created tumbleweeds rolling through downtown Baltimore or tumbleweeds rolling through what used to be FedEx Field for Redskins fans, there's a big empty when your team is poorly run. I mean, thank God we get to go to Cleveland twice a year, right?
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. It's extraordinary to me that the Angelos family for a while actually did support that team and then just kind of bailed on it. And, the thing that was really tragic, the thing that really was upsetting was last year when they had all the guys still, when they had Machado, Scope, Jones, when they had that core still there, right?
Buck,
yes. And before they all left, and you had that 1 year, and you didn't just pick up some pitching to give it a shot. I mean, come on! That you broke those kids' hearts. I mean, it's disgusting. What, for $30 million, and then you would have had people in the seats. It would have been paid for. You're not supposed to have your baseball team is not so that you can make $1 gazillion. That's not just what it's about. It's also about a way in which families can come out and kids can get involved in a sport that will allow them a physical activity. Especially, that's another thing we're not doing anymore, to get them out of the house, for God's sake.
Lewis Black, he will be at the Model Lyric on Tuesday night, and if you catch this later on in the week, I want everybody to do a little bit of support on Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and the Pathfinders for Autism. He'll be telling jokes, splitting my side, and I say this to you, and it's hard in this environment because I'd rather work blue with you, given my FCC license, but you are my favorite living, breathing comedian. Who makes you laugh? Can I ask you that? Is there someone on TV? Give me a little comedian breakdown, because people have told me that I could work on stage at some point. My wife gives me a hard time. I've had Louis Anderson try to give me tips. What's it like to be doing this at this point in the world where sometimes it's hard to make a joke? Your Nixon jokes used to play until it came to life on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter. I took a while to figure it out, but it's not. Eventually you do. That's the deal. It's like, a lot of, it's kind of a silly way to put it, but a part of what comedy is in part like dealing with a math problem, and how do you solve that problem? So how do you make it so that you draw the audience in on both sides, because they really have never been this polarized. It's unbelievable. I go in to do a show, and after the show they say, you didn't talk enough about him. You talked too much about him. You didn't talk enough about him. Are you kidding me? Seriously? That's what you come out of the show with? I just did 70 minutes, and you're worried about that? That 5 minutes. That's it. That's all I do. That's all I've ever done about any of them. Presidents don't interest me.
You know, your Facebook, I follow you. A lot of nights you'll pop up after 9, 10 o'clock at night, sometimes even on the West Coast, I'm up a little later, where, you know, you sort of give your comment, you sort of give away 10 or 15 minutes of fresh stuff all the time. You're always writing stuff, right? Like, it's like being on the radio. This ish writes itself sometimes, Lewis, right? Like, literally, all you have to do is wake up and a sports side, you watch Lamar Jackson do something on Sunday that literally I've never seen before. So sometimes the material does write itself, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, you know, and a lot is more than ever. I mean, you can pick up the front page of the paper. You know, I mean, there's a thing, I'm reading a thing now that I'll read tomorrow night, which is New Yorkers are going out to a place in the Catskills where they can for $75 they can cuddle a cow, and that'll help calm their anxieties. I mean, seriously.
We do a little research on this. We had a mayor this weekend. Our mayor said that gang violence will go down now because the weather's getting bad. He literally said that 5 days ago. And that's not comedy. That's not. There's no punchline in that. That's what our mayor said.
That's really good and insightful. That's what you really want from your leadership. Is you want your leader to be a meteorologist. You want you like your city's problems solved through meteorology. That's like saying, you know, if we could only kind of, bring in, if we could really just kind of tie up our roads with a ton of snow and frost, you know, we'd be better off as a people. That's madness. I mean, it's madness. You don't even know what to say in terms of that. But I find that it's not easy. What really I've always played both sides of it, because both sides are really have lost their minds at this point. So it doesn't help.
Well, we'll come together, whether you talk about him for 5 minutes or all night long. The him around here, there's only one him around here. It's number 8. He wears purple. His name's Lamar Jackson, Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty.
I know, except that, I have a friend of mine who was watching it, and he saw that run that he did yesterday, and said, God, if whenever a quarterback runs, my friend gets crazy, because he says you worry about the guy getting hurt. That's really what you worry about, because that's tough for a quarterback to put himself at that kind of danger. It's just, you look at what happened to RG3, you look at the stuff that can happen to a quarterback, and you go, wow. But it's pretty remarkable.
You almost speak of that like you're a Redskins fan, Lewis Black. Hey, we will see you on Tuesday night. Really appreciate you coming to town on a cold night to tell some jokes, make some people laugh. You've made us laugh, supporting the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and Pathfinders for Autism at my favorite theater, the Modell Lyric. See you soon, and thank you for always being kind to us, and you always make us laugh. Appreciate you. We need you out there, man.
Thank you.
Stay on the wall, Lewis Black. We need you on the wall, my man. You can find me out in the bayou, Toyota.com, Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. I'm not as funny as Lewis Black, but sometimes I'm even a little more positive, if that's possible. Nasty at WNST.net. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook. The morning newspaper delivers digitally at 7 a.m., including my blog on Lamar Jackson and The Thriller. What a weekend. Ought to be 22 again, right? We are WNST.net, AM 1570 at WNST, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Little comedy in Baltimore sports and good stuff.